Well, hello everybody. How you guys doing tonight? I know we're a small group, but I said, how you guys doing tonight? It's better. Now, my name is Jojo, and this is Jillian and Christian, and we work for a company called Conservation Ambassadors. And we're actually based out of California, and what it is we do at our center is we have a home to rescue wildlife. Either animals have been injured somehow and can't be set free back out into the wild. Those animals are sent to us at our center. Or other times we have a big problem, especially here in the United States. We have a problem with people trying to make pets out of wild animals. That never ever works. It's also against the law, and those animals are taken away and sent to our center as well. And what we do is give these animals lots of love, lots of attention, and lots of food. And the animals that we can, we train to travel, going mostly to school groups, giving us a chance to share some amazing rescued wildlife up close and personal. Now, we've actually been partnering with SeaWorld over the last 26 years, and we've gotten to witness some of the amazing rescue work that SeaWorld's done. And since SeaWorld first opened their gates, they have rescued and released over 40,000 animals. That definitely deserves a round of applause. Yeah, that's incredible. And they're some of the best at what they do. So when SeaWorld asked us to come share some of our rescue wildlife with you, we were super excited to do so, and we brought some awesome animals for you guys to meet. But tonight's show is different. Tonight we are sharing creatures that show their true colors under the cover of darkness. There's a whole world of activity that comes alive at night, and to show that, we brought some of our nocturnal friends for you guys to meet.
Hello everyone, this is Pepe, and what is he?
Skunk.
Exactly, he is a striped skunk named for these beautiful racing stripes going down his back there. There's also a spotted skunk that lives right here in Florida, as well as a hog-nosed skunk that has a nose kind of like a pig. But what ties all skunks together is their spray. You guys all know about skunk spray, right? Exactly. So instead of talking about it, I think I'm just going to show you how it works. No! Just kidding. I'm saving that little stunt for the end of my career, and it will most definitely happen in a junior high school. It's going to be amazing. But that spray is the skunk's only form of defense. He can't run that fast. He doesn't have very sharp claws or a very strong bite. So let's say a skunk sees a predator. The first thing that skunk is going to do is throw a fit. Have any of you guys ever thrown a fit before?
No.
I know I have. Yeah. So the first thing this little guy is going to do is he will stomp his little skunk feet to say, I am a skunk and I am about to spray. And if that first warning doesn't work, he'll even do handstands, waving that tail in the air to really show off the fact that he is a skunk and he is about to spray. And if that second warning doesn't work, well then, he is going to spray. They can spray about 15 feet, so some of you all are in the spray zone. Now, we all know it smells bad, but that's actually not the important part. That spray will get to the eyes and the nose of the animal that's attacking it, and it burns, working like nature's pepper spray. Hopefully, that animal will leave him alone. Now, we've been having a bit of a problem with skunks. Every week at our center, we'll get calls from people saying, oh my goodness, we've got such a skunk problem. So we'll say, what's the problem? About 9 times out of 10, it's a family saying, well, every night we've got this family of skunks coming up onto our porch and eating all our dog and cat food. I'm sorry, that's not a skunk problem, that's a people problem. People are leaving food out in the middle of the night and expecting wild animals not to come up and eat it. But it is causing some problems. These skunks are getting so much extra food, they're having more and more babies, and their populations are growing to the point where they're becoming problem animals. Luckily, it's very easy to fix. We can just bring that dog and cat food in at night, and then these guys will go back to eating things they're supposed to eat. Things like slugs and snails and other things that will turn them into helper animals rather than problem animals. Now, we got Pepe here because his mother was unfortunately hit by a car, and when the people got out and saw little Pepe by the side of the road, they decided to take him home and even managed to get his scent glands removed, which meant that when they got caught, Pepe here was deemed non-releasable. So instead, he was sent to our center. Let's give a hand to little Pepe, our striped skunk.
Now this beautiful venomous creature is Smog, and she is the Gila monster. And she actually came to our center because there was a couple that was driving through the Arizona deserts in the middle of the night when they saw this little creature walking across the road, and they recklessly decided to scoop her up and tried to take her back home into California. And they were caught at the agriculture station at the border of Arizona and California with this venomous creature riding in a bin on their dashboard. I mean, people are silly, and she was taken away, but because those people wouldn't reveal the exact location that they found her, she wasn't able to be released back out into the wild. See, Gila monsters are highly territorial animals, and if she was released into the wrong area, she could push out a Gila monster that already lives there. So instead, she was sent to us at our center, and I love talking about Gila monsters. For instance, their venom. The venom in their mouth isn't usually fatal to humans. In fact, the biggest problem you'll face if you get bit by a Gila monster is getting them to let go. Because their venom's not set up like a snake's, where it's injected through hollow fangs in their mouth. No, hers is in her saliva. So she'll bite down, and she'll work her jaws back and forth until that venom seeps into her prey, and eventually she can make a meal out of it. Pretty cool. She is also an amazing survivor. She can survive for 6 months with no food and no water, only using that fat storage deposit in her tail for energy when she goes out to look for food. And she'll wait until nighttime, when all the other animals in the southwestern deserts are more active. That's when she goes out, flicking her snake-like tongue, allowing her to sniff out her prey. Like I said, perfectly set out for life in those deserts. Now, there's a lot of rumors about Gila monsters, like they can leap up and breathe venomous gas into your faces. That's just not true. This slow-moving, heavy-bodied, mild-mannered creature really isn't so monstrous once you get to know her. That's little Smog. Let's say goodbye to the Gila monster here.
And this is Poppy, our Virginia opossum. Let me tell you, they're originally an East Coast animal, but they spread all across the United States as the railroad tracks they built. In fact, they were brought state to state as a food source. Now we got Poppy here because one day a lady was driving home at night and she saw a cute little fur ball run across the road. She tried her best to stop, but she accidentally hit that fur ball. Then she got out of her car and she saw that fur ball was an opossum. Now she was really smart and she did some research and she remembered reading somewhere that opossums were marsupials. And we know marsupials now with the pouch, but what do they keep in that pouch? What do they keep in the pouch? There we go. Keep it in the pouch. So she got down real low, she opened that pouch, and what she saw was 5 beautiful opossums. One of them, Big Poppy here. So she took them on up and she took them to the nearest rehab center where they had the best chance of making out back into the wild. Now they were doing great. They started eating, foraging for their own food. They started getting stronger and bigger. They started climbing. They were even staying with people, except for our little dude Poppy here, who they had found out was almost completely blind. And because of that, he was unable to be released out in the wild with his siblings. But he found a home with us doing shows for you guys. Now little Poppy here, he's 2 years old, and I know that might seem young, but in the wild, opossums, they only live 3 to 4 years. But here's the kicker, guys. In those 3 to 4 years, mama opossums will have up to 50 babies. Yeah, if I had 50 kids, I'd probably call it after 3 years too. Now, little opossum is a very important job at night, and that's keeping you and your pet safe. And he does this by lowering Lyme disease. And the way he does that is by eating his favorite snack, and those are ticks. And in one season, this guy right here can eat up to 5,000 ticks. Yeah. All right, that's Poppy, North America's only marsupial.
Now, these next 2 little guys are gonna melt your heart. This is Zig and Zach, and they are 5-week-old baby raccoons. And these 2 little guys came to our center because there was a couple that cut a tree down in their backyard, and these 2 little ones fell out of a nest. They couldn't find mom anywhere around, so they took them to a rehab center. But unfortunately, the county that they were found in has a non-release policy for raccoons. So they needed to find a forever home. And so that rehab center called us and asked if we could take them in. And how could you say no to those cute little faces? So we took them in, and I am so excited to watch them grow and develop with you guys here at SeaWorld. And you know what? Raccoons are one of the most highly adaptable animals on this planet. For instance, their hands. They have hypersensitive fingertips. Fingertips that are about 6 times more sensitive than yours or mine. That 6 times sensitivity allows them to feel between the rocks and the riverways and creeks, searching for crawdads and frogs, while their eyes are still up and looking out for predators. The other thing that helps them out, it may sound weird, but it's their wrists. They have these amazing wrists that they can rotate, so you can go up trees head first, as well as come down trees head first. In fact, these guys are so good at being in the trees, Check it out. They can barely walk, and they can already hang upside down. We should have named them Velcro. These guys here have a third thing that helps them out, and that is their stomach. See, they are what's known as an omnivorous animal. Can you guys say omnivorous?
Omnivorous.
Yeah, that's a big fancy word, meaning they can eat anything and everything. Beetles, grubs, worms, fruits, flowers, dead stuff, eggs. I mean, these guys here, they can survive on the coast by eating mussels and clams. They can survive in the deserts by eating cacti and bugs. Anyway, these guys here can even survive in the hearts of our greatest cities. And I think for putting up with us, we gotta give the raccoons a whole lot of credit. That's a little zig and zag. Let's say goodbye to the baby raccoons here.
Archimedes. And who is she?
An owl. Owl.
Who?
Owl. Owl.
I'm kidding, that's my only owl joke, I promise. You guys are right. Archimedes is our great horned owl, and she gets her name for these beautiful feather tufts on the top of her head. Now, owls are perfectly set up to fly and hunt at night, and she has a couple adaptations that help her out. Number one is her eyes. Her eyes are so good at seeing in the dark that if we took out all the light in this room, just made it so completely pitch black you couldn't even see your own hand, and we put out one little candle, that one tiny candle's worth of light would be enough for her to see about as well as we can see right now. But those eyes do have a problem though. They're so big and take up so much room in her owl skull that they are actually stuck, facing completely straight forward. So if she wants to look to the left, she has to turn her whole head to the left. To the left. Here we go. And if she wants to look to the right, she's got to turn her whole head to the right. The other thing that helps her out is in her wings. Her wings have specialized feathers called comb feathers that actually break up the wind and give her perfectly silent flight. And that helps in a couple ways. Number one is when she's out hunting at night, she's not just looking for food, she's listening for food. And if she's up in the air going flappity flappity, she's not going to hear all those little rodents scurrying around on the ground. And the other way it helps is that those rodents will never hear her coming, and she can make a sneak attack to grab her prey. If she hears or sees a mouse or rat on the ground, she will swoop down and use 600 pounds per square inch of crushing force to grab it and make it her meal. Now, an owl this size can eat about 3 to 5 small rodents a night, which means they are extremely important in the cycle of life. These guys help us from being overrun by the rodent world. Now, Archimedes here was flying free until about 10 years ago when she made a very big mistake. She accidentally swooped in front of a car, and although the person tried to stop, they couldn't, and they accidentally hit this poor bird, crushing her left wing. Luckily for her, they scooped her up and took her to the UC Davis Raptor Center in California, where they saved her life. However, because birds' bones are hollow, when they break, they often don't heal quite right, and that's what happened to her. She has just a slight bend in her left wing that means that she can fly a little bit, but not enough to survive in the wild. Now, I think she's absolutely gorgeous, but these colors of hers are for the opposite of showing off. If you were to put her up against an oak tree, she would blend in perfectly and be completely camouflaged for life in our woods. Let's give a hand to Archimedes, our great horned owl.
And he is the gray fox. And Disco actually came to our center because he was found abandoned as a little tiny fox kid. But the people that found him took him to a rehab center, and unfortunately the rehabber that got assigned to him did all the wrong things. She loved him and she cuddled him and let him sit on the couch and watch TV with the kids and play with the dogs. And she had kept that animal for a very long time. And by the time they went back to the rehab center to be released, they instantly saw that she had ruined him. He had lost his respectful fear of people and would not be able to survive out in the wild. So they called us, and we took him in about 12 years ago. He is now 13 years old. And foxes in the wild, they only live 8 or 9 years. So Disco here is a senior citizen, which is why we brought him to Florida. Now this guy here, he is perfectly set up for life in our woods. He can scale trees with ease using his cat-like movements. He is an excellent scavenger and hunter, eating everything from birds, mice, carrion, berries, and grasses. And even though he is so well adapted for life in our woods, we started losing the gray foxes. It was mainly due to this beautiful fur of theirs. So many foxes were hunted for that fur that their populations declined immensely. And we caused another problem as well. we invited a new species in, an invasive species called the red fox that took over the gray fox's habitats. It took away their food sources. But in recent years, the gray foxes have been making a steady comeback, which I think is very cool to see. Now, although Disco here, he may look cute, he has an extremely strong smell. Some of you guys might be able to smell it in the front row. It's either him or me, I'm not sure which yet. No, but that extremely strong smell of his allows him to mark his territory, keeping other males out of his area, and it also works like a personalized cologne to attract those females during the mating season. It works for him. But anyways, that's little Disco. Let's say bye to the gray fox here.
Octavius here, little milkshake connoisseur.
It's a
Travels the
tarantula.
grasslands of Costa Rica. Looking
you
for the
know
best
some
flavor.
people-
Right now he tells me he loves cricket, slug, worm, and your favorite house guest, the cockroach. Now what a special enzyme. And that enzyme begins to liquefy those bugs, and right behind those beautiful fangs, he has his own 2 custom-like straw teeth that work just like straws to help slurp up those milkshakes. Now, don't worry too much though, guys. If he was to bite a human, it would only feel like a mere bee sting. What he does to protect himself against bigger predators is all these cute little furries he has on him. He'll start scratching them off. They'll start rubbing them, they'll start flaking off, and they start getting into the predator's eyes, their nose, and it makes it basically feel like they have really bad allergies. It's like allergy season. Now, we got little Octavius here because a young man had him as his childhood pet, and as he got older, he had to go off to college. And whose responsibility do you think that went on to? His mama's. Yep, you're right. And she called us because guess what? She wasn't a fan of spiders. So now he's our responsibility, and he's doing shows for you guys. Now we recently got in contact with that young man, and he was absolutely thrilled to hear that his little buddy Octavius was doing educational shows for you guys. All right, that's Octavius, our curly hair tarantula.
For the rest of your night here at SeaWorld, everybody. Thank you very much for having us.